Welcome back to ReadyComicsRoll. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'm Anthony, and what are those?
I'm John, and I never freeze.
And I'm Mike. You should watch what you put in your body.
Yeah, how to steal that line, huh?
Yeah,
go with it.
And today we're going to be reviewing Marvel's Black Panther, one of the most anticipated films in recent memory. And we could say, I think we all agree, that it certainly did not disappoint.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's a must-see. We're just coming off of viewing that movie. We're still on that high, but even kind of...
We also had to wait a little bit, because tickets were sold out for the first night. And
that's true.
Like, literally, I was trying to find seats for this in every theater just to try to get us in for either the night of release, the day after...
Well, I think the only tickets that I was seeing online was the kind of those neck breaker areas.
Yeah, it was a lot of the neck breakers.
You're within the first like 3 rows, and I wanted to make sure that I did this movie with respect and see it in a good, area, something far enough away so I can see the grandeur of what was going on. And the movie didn't disappoint. We're coming off, like I said, the high of seeing it, and even when we were analyzing everything, we liked a lot of aspects that this movie kind of covered.
Yeah, they did a very good job of world building, which is something that I think Marvel tries to do a lot of, and sometimes it falls flat, like the beginning of the Thor franchise. They did a little bit too much of it, and I get it, Asgard's a pretty place to show off, but then they shove you on Earth, and then they do absolutely nothing again with Asgard until way later in the movie.
Can I say, and I understand that this show has a much bigger budget, but the world building, just to kind of cover with that, how you see the Wakandan city and the landscape and everything like that, that's what a human should have been without a lot of that.
I say this, one of the line that I almost used, and the only reason why I ended up going with the Killmonger line is because I don't usually like to repeat characters in our openers, but I really wanted to use the "this never gets old" line from Panther just as they're flying.
The introduction to Wakanda, just seeing just the majesty of it, just seeing the city that's been kind of secluded from the rest of the world, just seeing what they're able to accomplish, because they've had vibranium since like decades, just generations
upon generations.
The other thing that I thought was really good is that they did away with some of the scenes that I thought they were going to add into the movie, because we saw I think in the first teaser the line of everybody rushing with Cap and Scarlet Witch, or Scarlett Johansson.
I think you're thinking of Infinity Wars.
Well, it was tied into the original teaser for Black Panther too, because I think they were filming both kind of along the same lines as each other, because they were getting ready for this movie, and I think they shot a lot of the like Wakandan army scenes thinking that they were going to be in Black Panther, and then ended up putting them later into Infinity War.
We can go back and check out the
I'm pretty
trailers,
sure.
But yeah, I think we both agree.
We've just seen so much coming from Marvel that it's starting to fuse things together.
It might be that.
But you know what, though? That also shows to the art of how Marvel is making sure that this world is fully connected.
Yeah. Even with this movie kind of feeling a little bit separated from where it was, like where we got left off with Black Panther, because the only thing that really interconnects it is the CIA agent.
Or just the introduction of the movie itself, to where they're like, okay, BBC News shows you that this takes place almost immediately after the events of Civil War. So they're like, all right, well, T'Chaka's death was unfortunate. T'Challa is now the new king, and they apprehended Zemo.
Yeah, and I have to say this. The reason why I think I felt disconnected is because they don't tie it into, oh, this was, the fallout from an Avengers Initiative mission. They don't mention any other superhero.
Yeah, that's very much the theme of the movie too, if you really think about it. Is again that Wakanda kind of stayed very much to itself. They didn't show you from the beginning of the history of Wakanda. And
we're going to take care of our own business.
Well, yeah, it gives you a good feeling of the seclusion of Wakanda.
Exactly. That was the main
I'm not trying to say it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it was one of those things that they did a fair job of doing that
to kind of get where you're going.
Yeah.
They did a really good job at making sure they painted that picture of Wakanda's seclusion.
Yeah.
They painted that picture, we're going to take care of our stuff. People don't know about us. We're going to make sure that our storyline is our storyline. They really took ownership of what they were doing.
It's just To me, it's kind of weird to see that because with the way that Civil War left off, like, I wasn't sure where they were going to go with Black Panther at all.
That's the beauty of Wakanda, is that they're just like, screw the rest of you. We got our own thing going on. We are completely separate from the rest of you.
I mean, I was still kind of anticipating seeing some kind of tie, like some other kind of tie-in besides the end credit scene.
Well, obviously you had Claw coming back to kind of really put his stamp within the movie.
Which I'm actually that's something that's going to bother me a lot, so I have to mention it right now, is I absolutely love Andy Serkis being Andy Serkis and Claw as a villain. If we're going to talk about we're talking about how great the movie is, one of my issues with it isn't even so much that it made the movie bad. It's just Claw was such a great villain in this film, even so much more than he was in Age of Ultron.
He seemed to be like the fun villain.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much more he could have done, especially given his comic counterpart.
Yeah.
And I understand how they played it out, how it worked well for the major plot of it, but it's really a shame to see that right off the bat. It's like, all right, we get some really cool scenes with him, we get to see him be this awesome character. He understands the game, he gets into T'Challa's head too, because he's like, oh, mercy, mercy, because he knows he's being seen around by everybody. It's like, oh crap, I can't kill him now. And he's just like, ha ha ha.
But he even says when he's running outside of a club to get away from Black Panther and everything like that, he's just like, that was so much fun!
And then,
that was so awesome!
And then, unfortunately for him to be inevitably betrayed, because we all saw it coming, by Killmonger. And
he was a plot device in this movie.
Yeah. And that's like I said, that's a shame, because he is a great Black Panther villain in the comics.
But they also did this like kind of like flow of showing off each of like Black Panther's like major villains throughout the years, because we get to see the white gorilla.
We see M'Baku, which is Man-Ape, but you see him and his tribe, because in the very beginning they even explain, all right, there's the 5 tribes that kind of founded Wakanda, except for one of the tribes, the Jabari, are just like, we kind of don't like the way you guys are handling things, we're going to kind of go off and do our own thing. And we see them come back, just like in the comics, it's like, all right, I'm challenging you for the crown.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always that struggle, and they didn't disappoint. They wanted to showcase immediately. I'm talking about the movie in general.
So much culture, so much history. It's so rich in it.
Exactly. The culture, the history, and a chance to have this really cool fight scene. Depower Black Panther and have him go toe-to-toe against this mammoth of a man. Who's just like, dude, I'm quick.
They're not vegetarians. I'm calling bullshit. You don't get a physique like that from being vegetarian.
I know, right?
I do have to say one thing. When they did the depowering thing, and when they were going around it with every tribe and the challenges, I was kind of thinking that they were going to do the actual ceremony from the comics where he becomes Black Panther again, because he kind of inherits the mantle initially because of everything that's going on. Like, there's strife in the comics, and he ends up inheriting the mantle. And then later, they do the ritual where they strip him of the Black Panther power, and then they re-empower him after he does the whole, like, fights 5 of the greatest warriors kind of thing.
Well, if we're going to be completely honest about this, and this is something that I actually really enjoyed about this movie, is we are so hard up about why do we need another origin story? Why do we need another origin story? This
was a good way of doing the origin story.
Was a really good way of doing an origin story, but it didn't do an origin story. It's just like, no, you saw Black Panther in another movie. You're going to see him later. We're going to put you right in there, and then guess what? We're going to give you these little bits, like this is the tradition, how to pass the mantle.
You get exposition, you get little scenes that basically are nods to, okay, this is how he became who he is.
Exactly.
This is the way
so it was a really great way at doing the origin of him, but not doing it as a full-out origin story. We're going to make sure that we're going to do this movie how we want it and have the major villains in there and tell their story and what's going on and give nods to those origins. So for me, when everyone's been saying, why do we need another origin story? This is an origin story done right.
Yeah.
There's one other thing that was kind of bothering me, and this is weird, and I'm not sure if it was like Uncanny Valley or not, because I don't think they did CG on him, but Forrest Whitaker looked way younger than he did in the last 3 movies I've seen him in. I think they've been aging him in other movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I understand that it could be makeup, but to me it was one of those things. Like it was very weird because usually, like I think the last movie I saw him in, he looked like he was in his 80s.
You're probably thinking Rogue One, and no, they definitely to make him look older.
Yeah. Well, they made him look veteran.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can say that.
He's been through some shit. He's seen some shit.
Yeah. But for characters as a whole, like, and I can't recall her name off the top of my head, her character in there, but Michonne's character.
Oh, McCoy.
Yes.
Unless I mispronounce it. Sorry.
I
apologize.
Her general character, like, acknowledged, I am one of the greatest warriors in all of Wakanda type of thing. Like, you know that she's going to have this...
I really don't want to wear this wig.
Yeah, she's so freeing with the bald head. But she is so powerful in this movie. Like, she carried over her badass Michonne-ness in, like, hyped it up even more in this
Intensified tenfold.
Yes.
The thing that I really like is even when it comes down to, like, they think T'Challa is dead, and even after he's revived, they treat her like she's actually the strongest warrior.
Yes.
He's kind of like, alright, he's next in line, but she's the strongest.
If you look at it, she's not enhanced.
Yeah.
And she can go toe-to-toe with a lot of people, and she's not enhanced.
Yeah.
She hasn't taken on the mantle.
In that infight, when it's her and the two warriors...
It is. It was the heart flower.
Right? I'm just liking the phrase you're using.
Yeah, heart
juice. I can see it advertised now. It's
heart juice.
I don't know faster, stronger, more durable. Heart juice.
Heart juice. Like, it's the new pomegranate juice.
Exactly.
But to me, it was very reminiscent of, like, A Link to the Past. Like, you're going around and you're getting these hearts, and they kind of help you, and they get full power.
That's one of the movie's strengths, I would say, too, in a lot of movies, you have these sub-characters who kind of help the plot along, but anytime we are introduced to a character, each one of them has stolen their respective scene. Everybody has this commanding presence. Mm-hmm. You don't really feel like anybody really is a side character. Everybody...
And they didn't make characters that were completely... Not like, I'm trying to look for the word, but...
Inconsequential?
Yes, thank you. Inconsequential.
The only inconsequential character was the museum curator lady, and that was
yeah, but we're talking
because she was supposed to be inconsequential.
But it's about actual characters.
Yeah, main characters. Like when we were talking about Thor Ragnarok, what's his name?
The rock guy?
No. He stole the show. I'm talking about the Asgardian who helped out Hela.
The Executioner?
Oh,
Executioner. Like, to me, I've always felt that he was kind of unsequential.
So much so that he didn't even remember his name. To further prove the point.
That's my point. But for this, every single character, this was their job, this is what's going on, and I agree, they commanded the scenes that they were in. They weren't going to be overshadowed by one person or the other.
No. Like, even with the introduction of Nakia, like, she was kidnapped, but you kind of find out that was all part of the plan. And even then, she's like beating ass. She's like, alright, I disarm this guy, I'm gonna whack this dude over the head with the butt of the gun.
I like how she kind of goes back to Black Panther and she's just like, what are you doing? You're fucking up my mission. This is what I'm here for. And then he's just like, no. Like, I'm gonna be crowned tomorrow. I need you to be there. And she's just like, gotcha. I'm there. Okay.
And his little sister, Shuri.
She is, I love her.
You mean Q.
Yes, the homage that they kind of did to a James Bond movie where she's kind of walking around her lab and goes, listen, this is the new gadget for this, and this is the new gadget for this, and we upgrade everything. Even if something's not wrong with something, we're going to make it better.
She's insanely smart. I want her and Tony Stark to be in the same room just so Tony Stark can just feel like an idiot. Partially because I don't like Tony Stark, but also at the same time because this is how insanely inventive that she is. I mean, granted, they've had this precious rare metal to work with for generations, not to downplay her intelligence at all, because she's very inventive in the way she comes up with it. Like Absolutely. You mentioned the whole line where, like, oh, I need those EMP pucks back because I've already improved on it. It's like, what are you talking about? They work perfectly fine. It's like, brother, how many times do I have to tell you? Just because something works doesn't mean you can't make it better. Just like you were just
Absolutely. I mean, that's also very much like Iron Man-esque, and I'm not, again, it's just drawing the comparisons between them. Something can always be...
Just to see them in the same room, you're just like, oh, I created this arc. It's like an unlimited power source. So I created this thing, and she's like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, yeah, listen, First off, that stuff was your father's designs. You just made it into real, like...
All this stuff I created on my own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From this cool, like, nanite armor. It's like from Nicholas, nanite shootout.
Which, by the way, one of the coolest things that was in there for the tech that they got, and we see a little bit in the trailers, but they really explain it in there, the Kinetic Repulsor, technology where every single hit, he can then go, boom, and, like, smack everyone away.
They go ahead and just pull Colossus.
Yeah. Pretty much. That was like some of the coolest stuff that they put out.
And in regards to, because again, we're going to talk about the good and the bad, the CG, and this is, I believe, more of a problem that just Marvel has in general. We were talking about the CG a little bit.
They lean a little heavy on it.
Yeah, and certain parts they maybe didn't really need to, and you can kind of tell it's CG, and it doesn't always look very good. I know in particular...
Okay, I had a problem, the dream sequences. 2 of them looked really good. The one for Black Panther, the very first one, when he's kind of crowned.
When he goes on the ancestral plane. Yeah.
Exactly. He goes to the ancestral plane. He's finally crowned as the king of Wakanda. That first one looked amazing. Everything that was there, the colors, the vibrancy of it, everything looked really good and didn't look flat. His second one, where he kind of goes back because he loses his power and then gains it back again, he's visiting that plane again. In the background, just looked flat.
The daytime astral plane scene, yeah. It's like, I now look like kind of replaying it in my head. I can see what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you actually see the previous Black Panthers, you see the Panthers there. Maybe it's because the darkness and just the ambience and just like the lights and everything. The lighting in general made it.
It may have been a shading issue, but it's still you
can tell they're green screen.
Yeah, for Disney, Marvel Studios. The money that they throw at these projects, that was a fall point for CG. That definitely had no excuse.
It's not like, oh, we ran out of budget. Let's just.
To be honest, I didn't actually notice that. I was paying more attention to the foreground of that scene. I was just like, okay, well, he's talking to his father again.
I don't know why I couldn't get past it. I'm looking at Black Panther, and he's doing this great kind of monologue. Talking to his ancestors, and all I can see is this really... Why does it look like it's a green screen right behind him?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it didn't look good.
So, I mean, we do have this great message that's basically played out throughout the entire film, which is, when you have, especially in our current times, this division, it's even like one of the phrases said, okay, well, Wakanda, we're always to ourselves, screw everybody else. It needs to be just us. That kind of mindset just really doesn't help out anybody, and which kind of in itself created the very villain that we see with Erik Killmonger, because the whole scene where you're finding out that his father, Njobu, I believe it was his name, he ends up selling out Wakanda because he sees the strife and the neighborhoods that he's in. He just sees how humanity is mistreating a lot of its own people, and just like, you know what, no, we need to go ahead and take all of our weaponry, all of our tech, and we need to kind of just rule the world and make things right that way. Which, T'Chaka ends up finding out about that. We see the scene of the young T'Chaka in Oakland, and he's just like, hey man, you kind of sold us out here. You're going to expose us to the world, and 2, this is not how Wakanda does things. Right. This is not how we achieve peace. And ends up unfortunately killing him. And
that's the thing of sins of the father.
Exactly.
Because literally his events of killing his brother is what creates Killmonger. Okay? Which, by the way, I'm going to go on record, definitely one of my favorite villains for everything for Marvel right now. We compare, people are going, Loki's great or something like that. To me, Killmonger, his motive, what he can do...
He's definitely the best fleshed out Marvel villain.
My thing is,
I was kind of like, I said this before we went in, that like he's supposed to be semi-sympathetic. Like, he's supposed to be someone that, like, yes, the world has kind of made him the way that he is.
I think it's truly because, like, this may have started in Civil War. Marvel has been doing this really good job at going, hey, here are 2 points of views. Like, we're going to give you really good cases for both sides.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, whatever. Like, these are the two cases, and you're gonna find a connection.
Some people, exactly. Some people are going to take one side. Some people are going to take the other.
My issue is with the motivation though was the fact that he really didn't have anything against T'Challa, just T'Challa's father. The world beating him down the way that it had kind of turns him against everybody.
Well, it's simple, just like he states in the movie. The world has taken everything away from me. So his father took his Black Panther's father took his father.
Yeah.
Okay. He was brought up in a scenario in which he didn't have much, but he did his best. Like he's decorated officer. He is an elite assassin. You know, he's gone around.
He went to some of the best schools.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like he pushed his way through.
He worked his way to get there,
but he used the death of his father as motivator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the character is just amazing. In him going in, no, he doesn't have anything against T'Challa, but he's just like, no, you're with the whole group. You're with all. You exiled me basically by not acknowledging me into this. I come here, I do this. Like, no, you are my enemy.
I've accomplished what you did. You guys hated Claw. He's evaded you for 30 years across 2 different people being king. I just show up the same day. Here you go. There's Claw on a silver platter. Mm-hmm. This is how I do things as king.
I get it done.
Yeah.
He's a king in which he's trying to strive for that. He's like, listen, I'm going to bring us to the future. I'm not going to be such a seclusionist. We're going to go into the fold, but we're going to head the curve.
And I agree with you. I definitely think he's one of the best. I honestly can't think of anybody who would honestly be better. I think the only person that kind of comes on par, at least as far as motivation is concerned, they didn't really flesh his character and backstory out as much, is Zemo. Because all we have is the voicemail, which is like gut-wrenching, being, like, for me, at least as a parent, and just hearing his wife's voice, you know, hearing their child in the background, that loss. And just even just showing during Age of Ultron the whole thing of just the collateral damage that sometimes occurs from heroes. And basically being like, screw you guys. So, motivation-wise, similar, but at the same time, I agree with you, Michael B.
Jordan. Yeah, I
nailed it.
I truly believe it. I know I saw this somewhere. He put in an article where, because, you know, obviously he was in that movie that shall not be named. That was a really bad, even worse than normal Marvel movie.
Was it the Fantastic Four?
Shut up! But I swear he went on record saying, this role is my apology and redemption for Marvel.
Yeah.
You know, like for my Marvel fan base.
And to be fair, that was a sci-fi movie that they were going to put out, and it originally wasn't going to be titled Fantastic Four, but then they realized their licensing was running out, and then they were like, oh, we're going to turn this into a Fantastic Four movie.
It doesn't matter. Michael B. Jordan still took it on himself to be like, listen, that movie was bad. I'm going to try my hardest to make sure this movie succeeds. I know I'm the villain in this, and this movie, like, I'm going to act the shit out of it.
Apology accepted.
Exactly. No, Michael B. Jordan, if you ever see this movie, you were amazing.
And to that, it seems like that's also an interesting trend, because we always have these cookie-cutter villains that are just like, oh, well, I'm evil. I'm just going to do evil because evil's fun, or because I want to rule the world. Or something. You didn't get as much depth in a lot of other villains as you do with Killmonger. But that's why, also, too, it's nice that Marvel's kind of continuing this trend of the heroes are kind of creating their own villains.
Yeah.
The person who's probably worst at this, though, is Tony Stark.
He's created every villain he has.
Yeah, I mean,
he's so bad. Technically, he is the villain.
Yeah. Think about it. There you go. There's my vote for the biggest villain of Marvel so far. Yeah. It's not Killmonger. It's Tony Stark.
Yeah, pretty much. We were trying to think
he kind of was the last villain in the last.
In almost every single one of his films, he is basically the cause of his own problems. He's the one who creates his own villains, or at least, again, since his father, like with Whiplash. With Whiplash, the whole thing with that was, okay, well, your dad totally, like, copied off my dad's idea, stole it, claimed it as his own. Now I hate you because of it. Yeah. Ultron, he created Ultron because he saw a vision. He's just like, I have to be so much in control that I'm going to go ahead and create this, so we never even have to fight again. This thing will take care of it. There's no way this is going to possibly go wrong, and it does. And of course, just everything in Civil War.
Well, we did. We had this conversation, like, kind of as the movie was lining up. And we're like, so what were like really good villains throughout this movie? And it's just like, it didn't even matter because the person who created all these villains was Tony Stark.
Tony Stark's But as you pointed out, yeah, they definitely make him a sympathetic character because, you know, yeah, his dad had this mindset of, okay, we need to rule the world, which eventually ends up becoming his mindset, which becomes a parallel to T'Challa.
Oh.
Well, I mean, like, a reflection is probably the better word, not parallel. A reflection, an opposite reflection of T'Challa. Because T'Challa eventually learns, at first there's the whole seclusion, but then upon seeing Nakia again and just everything he experiences in South Korea and just everything else that's going on, it's like, no, the way we are going to really find world peace is through unification. We all need to come together as one, as he even says near the end, as one tribe. That speech is such a lovely speech too.
Absolutely.
A wise man knows that you need to build bridges
and not
build barriers.
But I stuttered there because I didn't want to take the line from you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, but the funny thing is that too can be applied to yet again modern day. So the whole thing with Killmonger is he basically has the same idea of unification, but his idea of unification is through conquest.
He wants to do it through conquest. I mean, that's why I'm saying I draw the parallel to Doom, because he believes that through his leadership with Wakanda's might, that he can do what is needed for the world. Now, he's a little bit darker on the aspect because his resentment towards society and people, so he literally wants to rule, where Doom believes him ruling is the right thing and the only necessary
because
thing.
he wants to kill the colonists. He's just like, I know how they think, let's kill them, kill their children, and anybody else who would go against Wakanda. But then again, also as we're talking about like mirror reflections, like the darker side and the light side, we see that too in their outfits. Because he ends up attaining his own version of the Black Panther suit with the whole nanites and everything else.
Although I like the slight differences, and you see this in the trailers too, how it's not really a Black Panther when he wears it. It kind of almost looks like a leopard, like the leopard print, at least on the head masks and everything like that. And of course, he has to go for the more showy gold.
Yes,
you know.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, in truth, was the only one left.
There was, but I think that
if we were to sit there and you both again, because we're talking about the polar opposites of one another. We saw like T'Challa's like he's like no,
this is too
flashy. Yeah. This is more stealthy. This is more low key. That's where, let's be honest, if there was the option of two, Killmonger would have been like, no, I want that one. Let's go with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just how it is. He does like a little bit of showmanship. You see that in the fight for power as king. You know what I mean? He has to do the monologue. He has to.
He could have ended that.
He could have confirmed the kill. He didn't, because he is a
You always confirm the kill. If you're the bad guy, you make sure that the hero is dead.
Yeah, but instead, you know, he throws him over the ledge, and if it wasn't for interference, Black Panther would have been dead.
Yes, because that's when Zuri, Forrest Whitaker, kind of interferes, and he's just like, hey, look, and that's where we see the big reveal. It's the other spy who was with Killmonger's father was Zuri.
Yeah,
and he's just like, look, if you want to undercover. Yeah, he's like, if you want to go ahead and blame somebody for your father's death, don't blame T'Challa. Don't blame T'Challa. It was my fault. Kill me. It's like, okay, I'll just kill you both.
But
which was such. I'm sorry to make a joke out of that, because it was a very emotional moment just to see that loss, because Zuri was very much. It was his uncle.
Yeah,
just to see that happen. Yeah. Just like, damn.
And I think, I know you had a problem with ramping of the movie for like the second half. I think all Marvel movies kind of suffer from that.
The first movie, I agree. That's why I would shoot down Black Panther for this. I just find it unfortunate that is the one thing the one trap they fell into that a lot of the origin films do. We had such a wealth of knowledge that was given to us, all this culture. Everything was just fantastic for the first half or even 3/4.
I think they realized that they were filming a 3-hour long movie.
Exactly. They're like, oh crap, we're running out of time. All right,
but again, it's what I call it's
Marvel syndrome.
It's Marvel syndrome.
Yeah.
So they just, the pacing kind of is really rapid at the end, but. Personally, me, I didn't find it that like I didn't have any big problem with it. I felt like it needed to kind of go somewhere, and I think it needed to go somewhere a little bit quicker.
My biggest issue with the length in this movie was my bladder.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I was sitting there for a while.
Mike unfortunately actually missed much of the final fight because you had to go as well.
Yeah,
Right.
I didn't realize how long I had been holding it until I looked down at my phone and I'm like, oh my god, this movie has been going on for 2 hours already.
But case in point, since we're moving towards the end of the movie, I think that they did a really good job again at making sure that every single character that they really introduced played a very important part within the last sequence of scenes for the final battle.
Yeah, like,
everyone felt important. Everyone felt like this. You would not have won this battle if you were not there. Like you had a feeling of it.
Like M'Baku showing up, and so when like Black Panther's actually saved, you're gonna find out that the Jabari tribe found him. They kept him safe, and that's how
They kept him on ice.
Yeah, they kept him on ice. They gave him the Captain America treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
And then which funny thing is, I love.
By the way, I love his tribe's like his
hideout.
His town. It's in the mountains, snowy. Like it looks really good.
I like the bone curtains
Well,
around.
I love the where his throne is just outlooks the Wakanda.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just out
That
there.
section of this is mine.
Exactly.
But M'Baku was also such a great character too because
He was so funny.
exactly. So there is some humor, and I'm all for it, like sprinkling in humor. 'Cause that's now kind of become a Marvel staple.
Yeah.
But they did just the right amount. Like certain
Right.
scenes, like when we see the car explosion after Claw shoots it, and then she's just kind of in the seat sliding, still holding the steering wheel, even though there's nothing
Falls on
there.
her ass.
Of course, the return of the meme of what are those when he's pointing to his brother because he's wearing ceremonial sandals.
Yep. Yep.
But
a little bit for the occasion.
yeah, but with M'Baku is great too because then it's like it seems like such a tense, serious moment because they're like, okay, well we need to we need you to take this, or we need you to be the one that fights Killmonger because he's an outsider, he's bad for Wakanda. We know you're a traditionalist. We know that you'll do this. And then that's when Martin Freeman, Ross tries to speak, and they all just start grunting, they do the gorilla grunt, and then he's just like, if you speak again, I'll feed you to my children. And you just see him like, oh, it's like, I'm kidding, we're vegetarians.
Yeah.
Which again is bullshit. Like, you don't get a physique like that to be a vegetarian. But like,
I guarantee there's going to be a few people out there that are like, maybe some bodybuilders that they get their protein through a lot of beans, and they're going to be like, I'll call bullshit on you.
You prove it to me that you don't touch anything else or any other kind of supplements or anything. But anyways,
whey protein, my friend, whey protein.
and then, okay, so then when T'Challa's back, you have this moment, okay, we saw them fight for being king, and he lost, but, T'Challa spared him. He even said, look, I don't want to kill you, just yield, and he yielded. So he's like,
your people need you.
Exactly, yeah. So he's like, a life for a life. But then they have the whole speech, and it's just like, they're also like, oh yeah, I'm in this. Okay, we're going to do this. And he's just like, are you guys done?
Yeah.
Are you guys done?
Can you leave?
Come on.
Please. Yeah.
But then he does on the side, he's like, look, I'll look after your mom, but I'm not going to fight this war with you. And then of course, you have...
There's a breakoff point where, of course, Black Panther's talking to him, like, one-on-one.
Yeah,
it's just like, listen, Killmonger, he's doing this.
He's an outsider.
He's an outsider. He's going to come after you next. And they cut the scene, so you kind of know, reading into it, that he's going to show up.
Classic trope. It's like, if it's not us, it's going to be you next. So then...
Well, he does say, at the very end of that scene, he does say, I'm not going to fight for you.
That's the whole point, though. He's he's full of shit. You know he's going to show up.
Yeah. It's just how it is. Especially being a jokester that he is, you think he's telling the truth. Now, but then, like I said, you come in.
Final conflict, yeah.
Yeah, final conflict comes through. Again, some great fighting. They change it up a little bit, and it's very reminiscent of the Killmonger fight versus Black Panther, again, when they were trying to go through the ritual to become king. Although I still give credit to Killmonger killed it, fight-wise.
He still swears that in that second fight, Killmonger realistically would have won.
Listen, the guy is completely out there. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't really get the technology. Black Panther, I'm going to give it to him, cunning. He did it because he's just like, I know this shit. You don't. You don't know what's going on.
I've had the herb power longer. I've had the use of tech longer.
But he beat his ass without powers. Depowered Black Panther versus Killmonger.
Depowered
whooped his ass. Whooped his ass. All right. Can you tell him Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah.
Creed was such a good movie.
So I mean, with all that being said, is there anything else that we really missed out on? Besides the post-credit and credit scenes.
Yeah, the 2 credit scenes at the end.
So the first one, of course, is you have the assembly of the UN.
Yeah.
You have T'Challa sitting there, just like, all right, well,
it's Wakanda coming into the fold to the UN.
exactly. They're basically saying, you know, we're going to go ahead and bring everything together. This is the scene before we see them. They're
what can a country full of farmers offer us?
Exactly. I just like when they cut to Ross and he's just smirking like, you dumb motherfucker.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, oh, you here, take this out.
But even T'Challa, like, just kind of smirks.
Like, it's like, wait till you see everything I'm showing you.
Yeah.
But then also, again, with that, even a little bit before that was the whole thing where they're back in that same neighborhood where, you know, Killmonger...
And I bought this building, and I bought this building, and I bought this building. And it was all for the outreach, you know, like, we're going to go ahead and we're going to
better communities in areas that aren't Wakanda.
Exactly. We're going to give them the resources they're missing out on while other people are not getting.
Exactly.
And then, of course, the second post-credit scene is the lead into the Infinity War. We see these kids looking down, and they're just, like, staring at somebody, and then let's say they get all giddy and they run out. They're like, "Oh, you're messing with that man again." And Shuri is speaking, and then you see Bucky come out.
I'm already calling it. I'm calling a love interest power couple with Shuri and Bucky. For some reason I felt the magic right there. I think it's gonna happen. Maybe it's a little bit too soon, but either way.
But you see him a little scruffy, still missing the arm. We know she's gonna give him a vibranium arm.
Which that's gonna be.
He had an awesome, like the metal arm to begin with was nuts. You're not with a vibranium metal arm.
Right.
And then we can kind of see at this point he's pretty much, I don't know if he's fully rehabilitated, but he's no longer on ice, which they kept him on that for that very reason, in case he could be activated. So I think at this point he's kind of cured of that mental programming.
Yeah.
Which they, nice little tidbit here, you should check out the Road to Infinity War comic, because they actually do show you little tidbits like this as far as what Cap's up to, what Black Panther and his younger sister's up to, Bucky, the whole 9 yards. They do kind of go over that just a little bit, saying, okay, well, we can't get rid of this programming, but we can go ahead and change things around a little bit.
Right. We can kind of make sure that you're not just triggered all the time.
Yeah. We're make sure that you're not Tumblr.
Exactly. So, with that said, I think that we're going to kind of give our final thoughts of this movie.
Get into it.
Okay, Mike, would you like to go first? Because normally you kind of go overboard with stuff anyway, so might as well start it off with going overboard. Go for it.
All right, final thoughts. Again, I'm going to agree with you guys about the pacing. Like, they're
Second half pacing. Second half pacing.
Yeah, second half pacing, especially with Marvel, has always kind of had this like weird vibe. Thor Ragnarok was probably the biggest cure to that, because they kind of launched that movie on the this is all second act. We're just gonna rush through this whole movie.
Well, the pacing's consistent.
Yeah, the pacing is consistent for Ragnarok. This one, I felt like I wanted them to do more, but I'm like, how could they have done more?
No. We already got so much.
And it's so much about that second act. The second act is really what was like, okay, I'm not sure still how I completely feel about it. I again missed out on the last little bit of the Killmonger fight.
I don't drink lots of soda.
Yeah.
Get a stronger bladder.
Or if you really want to be risky, get a bottle. Then
The thing that really impressed me was the I cannot say her name. Michonne's character with McCoy. There we go.
Not McCoy.
McCoy.
The fusion dance.
Yeah.
Michonne and McCoy fused together.
Yeah,
The fight scene prior to Killmonger fighting Black Panther by himself, he fights her and two of her warriors, and that scene is
one gets taken out really quick though.
When they pin him down, like when they're like, get the necklace off of him,
get the command of the situation.
Yeah, she does such a good job in that, like just in fight scenes in general through the entire movie, that I was very impressed with just the way that fight scenes were handled, because it wasn't It wasn't like normal Marvel flair where you can't really see what everybody's doing. They did this as a very intentional, like very the Netflix series kind of fight scene.
It wasn't a hallway scene, but it was definitely worth it.
They didn't rely on a lot of camera angles to make the fight scene.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those things where you like literally there's just so much traffic on screen, like with Civil War and with I mean Civil War was handled a lot better than the second Avengers movie. Which now I can't. The Age of Ultron. There we go.
There's just been so many movies now.
Yeah. Age of Ultron had suffered from that, like, everything's all over the place kind of thing. You could barely follow some of the fight scenes.
Or remember it, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely better than the fight scenes from some of the DC films.
But that says a video for a whole other day.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Still very traffic heavy. This one was very much like each fight seemed very intentional, very on point. Even the large cluster battle, I could still tell, you know, this person's on this side, this person's on this side. Pretty much until the White Ape tribe showed up, I could tell. When they showed up, it kind of became more of a cluster.
The Jabari when they showed up. Yeah. Well, that's the beauty too. Is that's why I really like the tribal aspect of it too. Is because that's also you can easily identify them in a battle.
Yeah.
He's gonna give it a 9 or 9.5.
I am gonna give it a 9. Mainly, it comes down to that second act pacing, kind of tripping it up. But again, Marvel does well with at least getting the first act to make sense. So. I'm gonna give it my 9. I'll give it my 9.
Okay. I'm actually not.
My 9, I know.
I like one. We're used to how you score things, but I'm not gonna complain about.
He's always high. I'm always mid. You're always kind of like
no. You're normally lower than I am.
That's true.
So, go ahead.
All right. So I mean, I've already aired my grievances for the most part. Like I said, I think Claw. They could have.
You wanted them to do more because it's Andy Serkis. You wanted them to do more because it's Andy Serkis.
Because again, Claw, even from the comics, even there's so
has a lot more important role.
Yeah, especially the Black Panther. So I kind of just feel like there's like crap, we really don't know what to do with him, and he is an important key plot point, because they made him so. So I get why they did it. That's fine. Again, pacing for me, but that is not something necessarily against Black Panther, the movie itself. It's something that Marvel does. It's just unfortunate that Black Panther fell into that same trap. But again, the movie was absolutely gorgeous. The fights were so well choreographed. We got so much lore, culture. There's just so much to love about it. The characters, everybody had such a commanding presence. I would definitely have to say this is an 8.5. I don't want to say 9. There's very few movies that give a 9. I think the only movie I've actually given a 9, we haven't done a review for it yet though, is Winter Soldier. To me, that's the only movie that still kind of is at the top for me. This comes in a very close second, in my opinion.
Okay. Honestly, you kind of took a lot of the words out of my mouth. Like, I agree.
That's kind of like how it works.
Well, like, no, I know. Well, especially yours, because I agree. I think that this movie, aesthetically, was amazing. I thought the pacing did not bother me as much
because you're used to it.
Exactly. I kind of go and listen. This is the Marvel syndrome, and I'm prepared for it. So I'm kind of.
I just don't accept it anymore.
I don't necessarily mind. Like I haven't followed a lot of the Black Panther comics. I'm going to be honest about that. Like I've seen some stuff. I'm very familiar with the character. I've seen a lot with Avengers. I have hero clicks of them. I have a lot of stuff, but I haven't followed it as thoroughly. But needless to say, I didn't mind the whole thing with Claw. I knew it was a plot point. I knew that it was going to be doing something, so it's kind of fitting. I just can't rave enough about Killmonger. To me, he definitely was a villain who deserved the spotlight. I think they casted both Black Panther and Killmonger perfectly. These two actors were amazing. And that goes for like all the cast. Yeah. But specifically spotlighting these two star characters and these two star actors were amazing. And my favorite scene was definitely the first fight scene. And I'm not just talking about because of the fact that I was like, yeah, Killmonger. The choreography was phenomenal.
Even just a lot of the exposition that was given there too. Like, I was in Iraq, I was in,
His monologue was so good. His monologue was so good.
it wasn't the "I've already defeated you" monologue that most villains did. He's
No.
smart. He's like, I'm going to monologue first.
I'm
before
telling
we
you,
even get started.
He's literally telling you why I'm going to win. What is my driving force? You really get to know the character in that scene, which is so powerful for me. And the other one I really liked was the first drink sequence, the first into the ancestral lands.
Yes.
That was beautifully done too. But I'm gonna give this a 9. I really like this movie. And I know I've gone on record saying Guardians of the Galaxy has been my favorite Marvel movie. I'm really kind of digesting this, and I think this is...
It's a contender. Right now it's tied.
I really want to go
above it.
Yeah, like I really want to digest this a little bit more and not jump ahead of myself, but it's in contention. It really is. I think this movie was amazingly done. The anticipation for this movie did not disappoint.
No, you got exactly what you were expecting, if not more,
Yes.
out of this movie. Which is
about an hour or 40 minutes more than I was expecting.
But yeah, I think that honestly right now makes that our highest rated film that we've reviewed.
Absolutely, I think so.
Yeah.
At least from the...
What we've done for the video.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you haven't yet, go see it. Go see it again. This is actually my second time seeing it.
Yeah, I'm going to go see it again, and I'll go with you. I know you missed the fight scene.
Yeah, I gotta go see
I will go see this movie again.
Easy excuse to go see it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, bring your friends. Go as a group. Like, talk some shit about comics after. Like, this is gonna make you go, holy shit! I want to know more about Black Panther. If you're not already on the hype train of it, anyways,
You're gonna be.
Yeah, you will. You really will. Like, I want to go and get some stuff for Black Panther now. So, absolutely. All right.
I already got my shirt.
I know, right?
So, of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, subscribe. Also, ding that bell to keep in touch with. And keep in touch.
Keep in touch.
Keep in touch. That's it. So to know when we have other videos that come up. As far as our podcast is concerned, we mentioned this before, but it's now no longer just on YouTube. You actually find us on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play.
Yeah, we're uploading our entire library shortly, so before the end of the month, we would probably be fully up and ready for that. You'll find out more. We're always going to make sure to stay in contact with you guys, so make sure you follow us on all forms of social media because we have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll leave all the other ones down below. You can always join our Discord because we'll be talking some shit out there every once in a while.
They'll probably still be discussing and geeking over Black Panther.
Exactly. We're going to make sure, though, because we have those threads, like, spoiler filled.
We do, yeah. So you don't need to worry about that. There will be the separation.
Yeah. So
just don't click on everything just to clear the
just
traffic.
To clear it out.
I do that on a couple of the Discords that I'm on.
Yeah. So absolutely, and don't forget, if you want to see this channel grow, make sure you head over to Patreon, become a patron today. It's always much appreciated for any kind of help we can get.